as I was saying, Joy Taylor, every dog has its day. And since I'm a big dog, I've got 2 days.
Okay.
So now.
You just called yourself a dog?
Yeah, I'm a dog. Yeah, I'm a big dog, a big one.
Kevin Durant is 6'11", who can pull up from 40. Okay. This brother is on that level. I'm talking about offensively.
Do you think you're better than Darrelle Revis is right now?
I'm better than you.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Mark Brown. Welcome back to another episode of the Lowdown Podcast / The Mark Brown Show on YouTube. And then you can also check the podcast out on Apple, Spotify, everywhere pretty much. And I have the Jonathan Thomas back on here. This is probably number 3 or number 4 of him being on this show. But this time, this is his first time actually being on YouTube, because I didn't have this on YouTube before. So everybody, if you didn't know, Jonathan Thomas is a sports reporter at KXAN in Austin, Texas. He's been in this business for quite a while now, and he knows his stuff. So, Jonathan, welcome back.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. Hopefully, people don't click off of this when they see my mug.
Hey, if they keep going, it is what if they click off. They're just a bunch of haters, man. We don't need any haters. Like, we can just leave that in 2020, right? It's about to be 2021, so yeah, we can just leave that elsewhere, right?
Well, if I turn them off that much, they can just open up a new tab and just listen. They don't have to look at me.
There you go. See, you got the best of both worlds, man. You can look at it visually, or you can just listen to it on Spotify or Apple. There you go. So either way, they're going to hear you or see you, one or the other.
Right, for sure.
So to begin, what's that?
I was going to say, so what's up?
Oh, yeah. So obviously, we're recording this at approximately 1:17 p.m. on December 31st, New Year's Eve. So 2020 is coming to an end, and it's almost 2021. So
thank God it's almost coming to an end.
I know,
what
right?
What a great day.
It really is so far. So I wanted to ask you this. So how did – obviously sports has changed tremendously this year alone. And then, you look at 2020 when you reflect on it. How did this year, 2020, impact you as a sports journalist?
Well, it certainly it was different because – this was my second year in Austin. 2019 was my first, and 2019, my position, I'm a sports reporter, so, but I'm also a fill-in anchor as well. But my main job is to report, and that includes shooting. Being what we call an MMJ. A lot. I don't have to do that 100% of the time, but I do it most of the time. In 2019, pre-COVID, I was going to all the basketball games, all the football games, home and away. I traveled, so when Texas played in West Virginia, went to Morgantown. When Texas played Iowa State, went to Ames. Basketball, we don't travel, but I was at all the basketball games, a lot of the women's basketball games. So, I was at, several baseball games. So I was at these events in person, shooting them, doing post-game interviews, shooting those, whether it be in what we call a scrum, where it's just a bunch of people gathered around the subject, or press conference style, where set the camera and the tripod up on the podium and, you raise your hand and ask a question and all that stuff, or they pass the mic around, all that kind of thing. That was what it was for me the first year. Then in March, when everything shut down, everything immediately shifted to Zoom. I remember it was in the middle, of course, of basketball season. Texas was getting ready to play Texas Tech in the Big 12 tournament the day after the NBA got shut down. That game, I believe, was scheduled that Thursday morning, because the NBA shut down on a Wednesday night. That Thursday morning in Kansas City, Texas was playing Texas Tech. It was a game Texas needed to win in order to cement themselves in the NCAA tournament picture. And then all of a sudden, I woke up. I believe tip-off was supposed to be at 11 a.m. I woke up earlier that morning just to watch. I was off that day, but I just wanted to watch the game, I had to work the next day anyway, so just want to know what's going on. Obviously, it's my job. And sure enough, the game was postponed. The game was postponed. Then Big 12 tournament was canceled altogether. And that was like, obviously the NBA, the night before, that was kind of the reality check that everybody got, like, hey, this thing is going to really change our lives because, a professional sports league is, literally stopped right before the game was about to start. Like the team had warmed up on the floor. We all know that story. We all know that. We all saw that. So I think after that happened, it kind of got everybody, like, the wheels turned in everyone's head. Like, even if we want to go on, it's probably not a good look right now to go on. So I remember not long after that, you started seeing other cancellations, Division II and everything like that. And we cover St. Edward's, a Division II school. They play Angelo State a lot. So, where you're at, Mark. So, like, I remember their tournament game got canceled. Their tournament got canceled. And I remember meeting up with their coach, Andre Cook, in a parking lot at an elementary school, and we were just like, we did an interview about their season just basically coming to an end while they were on a bus going up to Canyon, which is, outside of Amarillo, to play a tournament game. And basically on the way, it was like, all right, you guys, we're done. We're done. Tournament's canceled. We're going back to Austin. And, he was just talking about how surreal it was, just to experience that. And I remember after we got done, it's like, all right, well, I don't know when I'll see you again, but, be safe. And that's pretty much kind of the attitude that we all had with, with everybody. I mean, it was like we didn't know what it was going to look like for the next couple of months. Baseball season was also, in progress in Texas, just everywhere, college baseball. And, they had to stop playing after, I can't remember how many games they played, but it wasn't very many. And, I remember we went to your alma mater, Texas State, their baseball team, talked to them about their season kind of being, canceled after, a few weeks. And that was the last in-person shoot I had for probably 2.5 months. Was when I talked to Texas State, the Texas State baseball team, I want to say. That was the last time I was in person shooting something, shooting interviews, whatever, I would say. 2.5 months. Maybe there might have been a little shoot that I probably can't remember right now, somewhere in there, but it wasn't anything major. But until the summer, when football teams, high school football workouts were able to resume, that was that was when we were able to kind of start going back out there and going to different high schools and talking to them just kind of about working out and, what because no one knew what was going to happen. It was like, you guys working out, but it might not even be a season, what is that like? Are you talking to the coaches? What's that like? Talking to the kids, how do you get them to stay focused and stay ready for a season that may not ever come? But in that gap between, the summer and, March, it was nothing. It was nothing. And it was good. It was Zoom. Everything moved to Zoom, whether it was, at UT or, anytime we wanted to talk to anybody, it just moved to Zoom. And so basically what it did for me was it took away, that whole, like, all right, I can just do this story, go meet up with this person, or these people, and we do this, shoot this, do that. It kind of took that away a little bit for a while because, the station, that I worked at, everybody was very careful. Like, we were, about, like, hey, if you don't have to do something in person, don't. So it altered, like, just the way we did our jobs completely. Because, that's our job, is to go out and talk to people. I mean, that's literally it. At its core. And, it was okay, talk to someone through a screen, and it just doesn't hit the same. So we, definitely had to learn how to be a little bit more creative and figure out a way to, create some compelling content, even though you don't have that in-person, thing. You know what I mean? Because when you're in a room with someone, they can become a little bit more comfortable with you than, as opposed to through a screen. So it taught us certainly how to be creative. But I'm fortunate. I still have my job. A lot of people, unfortunately, lost their jobs. A lot of sports departments got just cut, like crazy during this. I never had to move to news reporting. No shade to any news reporters. That's just not for me. I never had to do that. Thank God. So it taught me that, you got to be more creative, but it also taught me, that to appreciate what I had, like it just kind of reinforced that because, it could all just change like that.
And well said, by the way. And just looking at present day, obviously we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and it looks like, with the new COVID variant already reaching California and Colorado, it seems like there's going to be a lot of adjustments being made, and, a lot of things are going to change, especially in January. I mean, you got the Senate runoff election coming up for Georgia, and you got like the inauguration coming up. So it's like there could be some changes much sooner than we think, but we don't know. Still a lot of uncertainty at the moment. So based off of that, what have you learned? I mean, besides, I know you said you appreciate your job more and everything like that. So what have you learned and that you can just utilize moving forward into 2021? So what have you learned in 2020 that will allow you to be a better sports reporter and as far as adjustments goes?
Well, I think that, it really, again, it goes back to the appreciation. I mean, once I it's safer to actually go back out and do things, whether it be with UT or with high school, St. Edward, whoever we cover, Texas State, whoever. It's just gonna, I'm gonna appreciate it a little bit more, and like I said, I'm gonna be more. I would say I will take advantage of it a little bit more. I mean, again, not that I took anything for granted, but you kind of fall into that when you do something for so long. For me, going to Austin was great when I came here. It's been great, being here. But the thing is like the job is the job, no matter where you're at. It's the same process. Yeah, the stakes are a little higher. So shooting a UT football game, with 100,000 people in the stadium, that's a little, there's a little bit, bigger than some of the other stuff I've done. But at its core, though, you pick up that camera and the record button, as long as if the record button's working, you got to shoot whatever you're shooting, Angelo State, Wall, Central, high school, whatever. You got to shoot that the same way you shoot a UT football game. I mean, it's all the same. So, but it can kind of, once all that kind of goes away after a little bit, you kind of just get into this you go in and get into robotic mode where you're just like, all right, we just do this, we do that, knock this out, knock that out. And you kind of can fall into a lull sometimes. And so when that's taken away from you, I mean, this year, I couldn't shoot any UT football, anything. So I'm watching it on TV, which is nice. But then when I get the opportunity to go back and cover a game, I'm going to, probably be a little bit more, I'm going to try to get as much out of the video I can get as I can, instead of thinking, oh man, I didn't get that shot. All right, I'll get it next time. Because might not be a next time. You know what I mean? And I think, when I used to think that, it was more on a personal level, hey, I don't know how, you never know what's going to happen to you as an individual. But I think what happened this year kind of broadened it to, you never know what's going to happen just in the world. You know what I mean? Everything might literally shut down and you're not going to get a chance to shoot this thing the way you really intended to shoot. You know what I mean? You might not get a chance to to ask this question to someone that you wanted to ask, again, like you might not get that chance. So I think, it just goes back to just being appreciative and not taking it for granted and trying to get the most out of everything that you do, and I think that's what I'm going to take into 2021, trying to get the most out of it.
And knowing that you've grown a lot throughout this year alone, I mean, compared to previous years, would you say, out of all the times you cover sports, would you say 2020 will be the most memorable one?
Well, if it is the most memorable, not in a good way. I would say I'm going to try to forget all this. I won't, but I'm going to try to not think about, once the world gets back to normal, I'm going to try to not look back on 2020 very much. Other than to say, wow, that's wild that, literally couldn't go anywhere. But, I would say, because I wasn't able to do anything, I would say, I'll take a year where I can do stuff and, get the most out of my experience, because I mean, really the most I did in 2020 was edit. And I will say that that's one thing, I grew that's an area I grew a lot in, was editing. I had to do a lot of editing because, you do all these Zoom interviews and, we have a show that we do, on the CW Austin weeknights where we do, it's called More Than the Store, and we do like an interview segment. And those segments used to be in studio, and someone else used to edit them. And then when the pandemic hit, they wouldn't let as many people in the building. So the person who edited them had to, he was pulled to do something else. So then that became my responsibility. And they're not in studio, so they're all on Zoom. So I had to edit those, and, we had to have one every day. We got to have one Monday through Friday. So, that was probably the biggest thing. That was the most I did, really, like since COVID hit, was edit that segment. So yeah, if I'm going to remember 2020 for anything, it was editing More Than the Store. I had to do that a lot because everything just moved to Zoom. It wasn't like a in-studio thing where the director's popping up, video or, whatever. It's all me, I got to put it all together, do the graphics, everything, because it's all recorded on Zoom. It's a file, you import it and you have at it. So, I certainly will remember it, but I hope that a more memorable year is ahead for me. And it's a year where I get to actually do stuff and experience stuff and not, watch games on TV and edit segments. If that's my role, fine. But if my role is to actually be at the games and cover the games in person, I certainly would want to do that.
Well, that can definitely happen if everybody just follows what's going on with these next few months, because like the next season won't start until August. That's when fall camp starts for most schools, especially for UT. So, I mean, hopefully then.
Spring ball is going to be in jeopardy too, again. Because obviously they didn't have a spring ball last year. So, and spring ball could very well be in jeopardy again. So that's going to be an issue as well in a couple months.
Yeah, so that's another thing. You're right about that. And just looking at fall camp, because like obviously you said you couldn't even physically be there and cover it. So that must have been weird, because I remember when I was interning with you guys just almost going on 2 years ago now. Shoot, I mean, it's been a year and a half for sure. And I remember I got a chance, like right before I completed my internship, I remember I had the chance to go with you to go see, Tom Herman do these post-practice pressers and stuff like that with the media in the Austin area. And obviously that didn't happen this year. So it's like, just looking back, it's like, did that really happen? I mean, it just feels like a completely different time, which it really was, but it feels like it's been much longer than just a year and a half ago.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's the thing, that's what's going to be weird when things go back to normal. And we don't know, because this year with the creation of Zoom and everything, the advent of Zoom and how just big of a deal it's become and how easy it is to use and, everyone does it, it's going to be interesting to see if they, go back to the way they were doing it. It's going to be interesting to see, okay, are they going to let us talk to the players in person, or are they going to just do it on Zoom still? Are they going to do the thing where we could, or are they going to let us shoot practice? As you remember, they would let us shoot. There was a window where we could shoot practice, then we'd have to stop, but there was a little time period where we could shoot. And this year, of course, because none of us were allowed to go, they have people shooting practice who work in the athletic department, and they would send us the files, send us the video for us to use. So it'd be all their video, none of ours. Are they going to let us, do both, shoot and talk to them, talk to the players and talk to, Herman in person? Or are they going to say, okay, look, it's one or the other. Either, okay, we can shoot video a little bit, but they're going to talk on Zoom, they're going to do a Zoom thing. Or, you can talk to them after practice in person, but the video you can't get, we'll just send you the video, like we did, in 2020. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see whether they do that. And it's also just going to be interesting if everything does go back to normal. It's going to be weird doing that whole thing again. It's going to be weird after a game. They bring the players, we can't go in the actual locker room, but they bring the players in this other room adjacent to the locker room. And, it's, several players at a time, and, you're going around talking to different ones, and it's like I said, it's called a scrum. It's a bunch of reporters around, guys. You get what you need from one guy, you go over to the next guy. It's going to be weird being in a room with all those people like that again, because, that's just not kosher right now. Hadn't been kosher for a whole year. And so that's going to be weird whenever that comes back. If it ever does, that's going to be really strange to experience. So it's just wild, man. Wild time. Sure.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, just based off of that, you can't even because you got hypochondriacs like me. I mean, shoot, I got a mask sitting right here before I go before I head to work. Yeah. It's like it'll feel weird. 'Cause at that point, I mean, people like me who take like any illness, like I took, I took the flu just as serious as I took COVID, but I didn't go around wearing a mask. But now it's like, you say you fast forward, say things return to normal by 2022 or 2023, which is, I mean, hopefully it's sooner than that, but say that's the case. And it's like, I'll still be that guy that's going to be wearing a mask if I'm around a room full of people, and everybody's going to look at me funny. I'm like, hey, man, I'll be like one of those people that'll be forever like scarred by being around just a bunch of, pathogen carrying human beings. So it's like, at that point, I'm still going to be that guy that's going to wear a mask. I mean, maybe 10 years from now, I'll probably be doing the same thing. Who knows? But,
hey, man, I mean, no, it's going to be strange whenever it's going to be safe to not have to wear a mask, out in public or, wherever, just around other people. That is going to be weird because that's such a part of it now. I mean, everybody can relate to that. You leave, wherever you're at, you go out the door for your apartment, your house, whatever, and you go, oh, dang, I forgot my mask. Let me turn around and go get my mask, or I'll do the thing where I'm driving and I'll kind of just be like looking off to the side and I'm like, oh, there it is, like, where's my mask at? Just making sure you have it. That's just such a part of it now. Like, so it's going to be weird when you don't have to.
It's like
I can't wait for that day, though, because I'm tired of this. I'm doing it. I'm doing everything right. I'm being responsible, but I certainly am tired. I'm tired of all this. And I'll just say it's a shame that we're in this position. And that's all I'll say about that. It's just a shame we're in this position still.
Yeah, it really is. But I know we can keep going on and on, but I know we both have to be somewhere in a little bit. So it's like, I'll say, you're off today, I'm assuming. You're off?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Must be nice, just like Life Jennings. But for me, I gotta go in a little bit. So I'm going to close it off right here. So you got any last minute thoughts you'd like to provide?
My sister listens to this, Mark. She's a huge Life Jennings fan, so she'll like that reference.
Say it again.
Said if my sister listens to this, she's a huge Life Jennings fan, so that she'll love that reference.
Oh, there you go. Hey, at least somebody will like it. But you got any last minute thoughts you'd like to share?
I would just say that, I'm glad this year is over. I think we all are. And, who knows what 2021 is going to bring us? We don't know if it's going to be better than 2020. But, I would just say that we all just need to do the best we can to control what we can control. To borrow a phrase that Tom Herman and Sam Ellinger and every Texas player for football and basketball say, control, we need control, we need control. But that's true though. I think if we all just control, we can control, and just bring a positive attitude into this year, I think we'll find that it will be better. It will be better if everybody just kind of does their part and is just responsible. And, I know it's hard to be positive sometimes, but, we got to try to figure out a way to do that, because each person, should just try to find something to be happy about. I know it's hard, but if you can try to find something to be happy about and at least think about that, you know what I mean? When you're thinking about all the other stuff going wrong, think about what's going right as well. I think that's going to give you a lot of balance, and you're going to find that things are going to go a little bit more smoothly for you.
Perfect. So on that note, I'll end it right there. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was I'm going to say because you got to put the "the" title in front of him. The Jonathan Thomas. Hey, he's on the path to greatness. He's already getting there. He's working his way up the ranks. So yeah, that's why I had to put that there. I had to put it there because for future preferences, I'll be the first guy that said that. So there you go.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Mark. I appreciate it. It's fun as always.